How's it going, everybody? Welcome back for another video. So I had to go through this process recently for my day job and figure out exactly how it worked and how to get it set up. So I figured since I've already documented it for my job, I can kind of tweak that and make it applicable to anyone who needs to follow this. So I'm going to go ahead and make a video of it. I've made a PDF guide for this that I'll make available for download as well. And I'll make the backup and restore scripts available for download in case you want to do that. There's also going to be a link to the official documentation if you are wary of downloading scripts that you didn't write yourself. But we'll go over all that. So what is this video? It's going to be how you can backup and restore your Help Center articles for your Zendesk Help Center. So a Zendesk Help Center is what you see on the screen right now. It's a collection of articles that you can use to help your customers help themselves. Things like troubleshooting, information on product orders, whatever it might be. It's just a collection of different articles that you have on your products or your services in Zendesk. So what we're going to be doing is backing up all of the articles that are contained within this Help Center, and then I'll show you how to restore them, and there are some caveats to that. It's not a 100% one-to-one restore process in all situations, but we'll go over that when the time comes. So I created a PDF of the article that I created to go through this process. So like I said, this will be available for download. It's got table of contents that you can click to go to different sections, links, work. It's got everything you need in here, but we're going to go through this article and this process together in the video. And this computer I'm working on shouldn't have any of this stuff installed, so I'll be able to show you the process from start to finish. So I'll go ahead and start. Here is the reference to the Zendesk documentation if you want to take a look at that, or if you're just looking to go there and follow their steps and do it yourself. This is where all of the information I got is from. So there's a link to that there. So before we do anything, we're going to need to do some stuff to set up our system for this. Most of these steps won't be required in the future if you do additional backups or restores. Most of it's a one-time setup. Unless you switch computers, obviously, then you'll have to set up on the new computer. And I am doing this on a Windows 10 PC, so if you're using Mac or Linux or a different operating system, the steps might vary slightly. So the first thing we're going to do is create the folders, the folder structure that we're going to use for the backup. So you can place this wherever you want to place it on your local PC. I'll just do it in Documents. So what we're going to do is create a folder, and we're going to name it Help Center Backup. And you can name this whatever you like. This folder name doesn't matter, but it's pretty explanatory. I like to make it clear if possible. Then you're going to want to go into that folder you just created, and you're going to create another new folder and name this one Backups. Let me make sure. Yeah, Backups with an S, all lowercase. This name has to be this, Backups, all lowercase with an S, because the script is going to rely on that name. So once that is created, we're good there for the folder structure. And then I threw this in here if you're curious about the size that the backups are going to take. I have about 170 articles on the Knowledge Center that I'm managing, and a lot of them have pictures, some of them have a couple of them have gifs or gifs, however you like to say that, and a lot of them have links, multiple links, and all that 170 articles all takes up about 650 kilobytes of space, so it's very, very small. So you can back up regularly. You could set this to automatically run the scripts to back up, once a day if you wanted, or however you see fit, but it doesn't take up much space, which is really good. So now that we've got the folder structure done, we're going to want to make sure we have a text editor. So Notepad++ will work fine. I do not have that, I believe. I don't, so I'm going to go ahead and download that now. And let me be smart and open these in new tabs. Okay, so we'll download the latest version for Windows. Get that installed. I'll put timestamps in the video too after upload, so you can skip through any of these steps that you don't need to see. I'll leave everything as is, and we are installed there, so that's done. And then next we're going to download and install Python. There's a link to it right here. Latest version for Windows 3.11.0 looks like. And Brave browser is blocking stuff. Let's try it again. Here we go. Windows installer 64-bit. And then we'll install this. Let me make sure there's nothing specific. So I'll go ahead and just leave it at the defaults. Let that run. There's quite a bit of setup to get this running, but once you have it running, it's very easy to back up your stuff, so it's worth doing it, in my opinion. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit this option here, disable path length limit, just to avoid any future issues. Might as well let it take care of that. So Python is installed, and then now we need to correct some of our system settings to allow this to run properly. So we need to adjust our app execution aliases. So Windows 10, you're going to go to Settings, Apps and Features, App Execution Aliases, or you can just search App Execution, which I'll do, and then choose this Manage App Execution Aliases. And then I've got a picture here for reference. We're going to look for these two, App Installer Python and Python 3. Turn those off. And then if you don't already have hidden files and folders visible, we're going to need to enable that. So you can go to Control Panel, Appearance and Personalization, File Explorer Options, and then Show Hidden Files and Folders. Or, once again, you can search, which I'm going to do, just search folder, and then you'll pick File Explorer Options, and here we're going to click on View, and then right here, Hidden Files and Folders, you're going to, looks like I already have it enabled, but you'll pick Show Hidden Files, Folders, and Drives and hit Apply, because we need to navigate to a folder that's hidden, so we have to do that to be able to see it. And then now we're going to open a File Explorer window, can't talk, and navigate to, let's go to this PC, C, Users, Your Username, App Data, which is hidden, Local, Programs, Python, and then your Python version. So we installed 3.11.0, so the folder is Python 3.11. So that's the path. So your username is the username of the account that you're logged into right now, and then your Python version is going to be whatever version you installed will be reflected in this folder. So once we're in here, let's see, click on the address bar, a File Explorer window to show the file path, highlight and copy it. So if you click right on here, it'll change this to the what's the term I'm looking for? Full path. There's another term I'm thinking of, but I'm missing it. This is the full file path, so we're gonna copy that, and then we'll leave the window open for now. So screenshot to reference there. Now we need to set the system environment variables. So you can go to Control Panel, edit the system environment variables, or once again we can open the Start menu and search Path, and that'll bring up Edit System Environment Variables. Click on that. At the bottom of the window we're going to click Environment Variables. Here in this new window, click on Path under System Variables right here, and then we want to go to Edit, and then in here we're going to click the New button. That'll let us add a new variable, and then just paste in that file path that we copied. Hit Enter, and we'll leave that open for now. I'm going to go back to the File Explorer window that we had previously here. Okay. And then we're going to go into the scripts folder. So that same path, app data, local programs, Python, your version, and then scripts. And then same thing, click in the title bar here, highlight it, copy it back to this, hit New, and paste that new one in, hit Enter. And then we can click OK here, and then click OK here. And we'll go ahead and close this window out. And there's a reference screenshot here if you need to show you where to go to add those two. And now we'll need to reboot the system for those new variables to take effect. So we'll go ahead and pause the video right here, and we'll be back in just a moment after we've rebooted. Alright, welcome back. We are done rebooting. We can go ahead and proceed. So now we need to install requests, which is going to be required for the backup script to run. So we're going to open a command prompt window. You can hit the start button and search command prompt, or however you want to get to it. I like to do Windows key and R to launch run, and then you can just type CMD and hit enter. Quick way to get to it, but however you want to, open up the command prompt window, and at the command prompt you're going to type pip3 install requests, hit enter. We should see it downloading. Successfully installed. Cool. So that is done. Next thing we're going to do is install Beautiful Soup, which will be required for the restore script. Can't talk today. So to do that, similar, we're going to do pip install Beautiful Soup for all one word. Okay, successfully installed. We're good there. We can go ahead and close out that command prompt window, and then we're going to need to download Microsoft C++ Build Tools installer. There's a link for it right here. Just hit download build tools. Man, not doing well. And then we're going to run that, and then alright, it's going to run through a couple of prerequisites here for us. So we'll give that just a minute to run. And then we should get this window here to allow us to choose what to install. There we go. So once that comes up, you're going to select the desktop development with C++ right here. And then just hit the install button, and this guy will take a few minutes to run. So let me scroll down here, and then depending on how long this takes, I might speed up the footage. Alright, so we are back. As I like to say, work smarter, not harder. So rather than trying to figure out how to speed up footage that you don't want to see in the first place, I'm just going to snip out a bunch of that. But that took about, I'd say, probably a good 7 minutes to get through all those installers. So be aware that'll take quite a while to install. It's recommended to reboot, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and proceed without rebooting for now. Let's see. I don't remember rebooting when I did this the first time, so let's roll with it. Close that installer out. Next thing we're going to do is install LXML parser. So link here to the download page. You're going to want to download the appropriate version for your Python installation. So the Python version you have 3.11.0 for us, and 32 or 64-bit for us, 64-bit. And of note, if you're unsure which one is right, you can just try and download one, try and install it, and if it's not right, it won't install properly. So not the biggest deal if you can't figure out exactly which one. Just try them and see what works. It's a little bit confusing. So 3.11 Windows 64. So I think this is the right one. It seems to be 3.11 Windows 64-bit. Let's find out. I'm going to download it. Maybe, if Brave doesn't block my stuff. LXML 3.11 Windows 64. There we go. Okay. So to install this, it's not just an installer that you run, you actually need to install it from the command prompt. So I'm going to right click this and go show in folder. Drag this over here. And then I'm going to click the address bar here to get the file path. Copy that. And then I'm going to open up a command prompt. And to install it, you're going to do pip install and then the file path. So that's part of the file path, but we also need the file name. So I'm going to add a backslash and then this file. Copy the entire file name with the extension .whl. Paste that in. So now we got pip install and the entire file path. Enter. Require. Looks like a path does not exist. Did I add something here? Okay. Yeah, I'm dumb. So because there are spaces in my username, the path has spaces in it, I'm going to need to surround that with quotes. So that's a good thing we ran into that, because I'm sure somebody else will. So yeah, if you have any spaces in any of the folder names or your username or anything, just enclose this whole path in quote marks. Try it again. Let's see, not supported wheel on this platform, so that was not the right one, even though it looked like it was. So let's see, let's try this one. 3.8 Windows 64. So I ran into this problem last time. It looks like that's the one, but apparently not. So let's try this one. Go here. Downloads, copy the full file name of the new one. Just to avoid confusion, I'm going to delete that old one. And then we'll go to command prompt again, and you can hit the up arrow to bring up the last command you typed. And then I'm just going to arrow over and delete the file name portion so I don't have to worry about copying and pasting. And I'll just paste in that new file name. Enter. Not a supported wheel. Oh, we already tried this one, but just to double check, let me Try it one more time. Okay. Guess I'm going crazy. Maybe I didn't try that one. 311 Windows 64. I could have sworn that was the first one I tried. Well, it worked, so I'm not going to argue with it. Successfully installed, so we will leave non-broken things as they are. So that's done. That's going to be a bit of a pain. You might have to, as you saw, download a whole bunch of different ones and just keep trying them. But once you get that installed, then we can move on to making the backup script. So if you want to make it from scratch because you're not comfortable with downloading scripts that you found online, which is understandable, once again there's a link to the Zendesk official instructions, their official documentation, so you can run through that and create it. It walks you through the whole process on how to create the script. But if you want to just read through the script and see what it does, and then if you're comfortable with it, copy it or download it, I'll have that in this document, as well as if I'm able to, I'll put a link to I'll put a text file version of it. I don't know if YouTube is going to be weird about links to scripts, so I'll just put a .txt file, and you can change the file extension to .py after you download it, and that way it'll work for you. But however you want to do it, we're going to need the backup script. So I've got that here, and then for documentation I use Confluence, and it's a little bit weird with the tab or the indentation here, so this portion's a little bit weird. That might need to be corrected once we get there, but we'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this whole script here, and then launch Notepad++. We're going to make a new file and just paste it in. Control V, and then we want to make sure that the indentation, or the amount of tabs for each line on each line of code in this, lines up properly to match this image. Otherwise it might not work properly. So we're just going to go through and make sure everything is on the up and up. So import OS, date time. We want the spacing too, so it looks like we are going to have to correct that a bit. So I'm going to get rid of this final line here that's blank. So we got these three, and then a space, import request, space. These guys are all justified to the left. Another space. Alright, and then this line here, 14, needs to be indented once. And then we're going to add a space after that. I guess a return, a gap in between the two chunks. And then after log as well, so that's by itself. Endpoint. Okay, so that put a line break or an enter where it should have been a space, so we'll correct that. This is all one line, as you can see down here in the example. Okay, that nightmare is over. So now that we've got that correct, we're going to save this, and we want to save it in the file structure that we made previously. So we're going to go to Documents, Help Center Backup, and then Backups, and then under here you're going to want to save this as what is it, make backup, yep, make underscore backup dot py, and save as type, just change it to all types, so that way it'll let you put the Python extension. Hit save, and then we're gonna go ahead and open up a new text document again. So we got this copied, it's all indented properly. So then you're going to want to change this line here, credentials equals, that's email and password. And that's going to reflect your own Zendesk account, email and password. So of note, the account that you use for the backup and the restore needs to be configured to sign into Zendesk by email. So you cannot use single sign-on like Google. If you just go to your Zendesk link and you click, sign in with Google account and it signs you in, that won't work for this process. It has to be an account that's signed in by typing the email and the password. So make sure that you have an account like that set up for doing this process, and that account also needs proper permissions to be able to view and edit the Help Center articles. I think you only need view for backing up, but if you want to do the restore process, you definitely need edit permissions. So make sure you have that as well. And then you're going to want to change this line, Zendesk equals, and you're going to want to replace the link with your proper Zendesk Help Center domain. So you're going to need to change those two so they match up your information. So I'm going to do that now, and this will be blurred for security purposes. So first part of that's going to be your email, second part is going to be your password. Okay, and then edit your domain. So in this example, it's going to be bobcatminer.zendesk.com, so it's whatever your company's Zendesk domain is. And then language, if you're doing a different language other than English, US English, you'll change this value here to reflect whatever your URL normally shows. For instance, if we go here, at the end of it's got en-us for us. If you're using a different language, just change that as well so it reflects it. And then once we've made those changes, I'll go ahead and save the script. And then for security purposes, it's recommended that when you're not running the backup, you delete or change the credentials, the email and password. And that way it's just more secure, and then when you go to actually run the backup or the restore, you manually type it in. If you're gonna schedule this backup to run, like for instance you want it to run once a day at a certain time, and you go through the process of scheduling the script to run, then you'll need to leave it in there. But just of note, for security purposes, Zendesk recommends that you don't store that information in there. But I'll go ahead and leave it for now. And that's the only information we need to change here. So we got that all saved, and then before we proceed, we're going to do the same thing but for the restore script. So we're going to get that all put together. Same thing, we get a link to the documentation if you want to follow that on your own and make it. Otherwise you can copy it, or I will try to make that available for download too. Same thing, we're going to copy that, paste it into a new text document, and then we need to make sure the indentation lines up. Let me go through that real quick. Okay, that's done. I'm probably going to cut that out just to make it shorter, but just of note, right here, language.lower, I did the same thing as the backup script where it made this an enter instead of a, actually there's no space here, so it added a random enter there. So if you're copying and pasting, be aware of that. It should be language.lower, no spaces or anything in between them. And then same thing down here, response.reason. That reason was on a different line, should not have been. So we got that corrected. And then same thing as the backup script, you're going to want to edit the email and the password for your Zendesk account. Put those to whatever they are for you, and then edit the domain. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, so that's done. We can go ahead and save this one, and then this one is going to be named restore_articles.py. Save as type. We're going to do all types, and then save it in the same place, Help Center backups, and then right in here. So we got our 2 scripts and our system's all set up, ready to rock. So now we can actually go through and run the backup procedure. So to run the backup procedure, you're going to want to go to the file, folder structure that we created earlier, Help Center Backup. So for us it's in Documents, Help Center Backup, go to the Backups folder. So you want to actually go to the folder where the scripts are, and then if you follow best practices and you don't have your credentials stored in the script, then you're going to need to open it with Notepad++ and add those. So you can right click it and just do edit with Notepad++ or whatever your chosen text editor is, and add your credentials in and then save it. If you just have them in there already and you keep them in there, then you won't need to do that step. So once that's all ready to go, you're going to open a command prompt window at this location. So you can do that by clicking in the address bar here. Just type CMD and hit enter. What that'll do is open a command prompt window at the location that you're currently at in File Explorer. And that just makes it so we don't have to type the full file path of our script. So because we are located here in the file system, all we have to do is oh, okay, I wasn't scrolled down. So there you go, shows you how to open that up. So all we need to do is type make backup or make underscore backup. You can actually probably tab complete, yeah. So if you just type make underscore and then hit tab, it should fill in the rest. So instead of typing this entire file path, which you could do if you wanted to just open up a command prompt from anywhere, you could type this entire file path to the script, or since we're already here, we can just type make backup.py, hit enter, and you'll see feedback that it copied articles. So show you the article ID of every article that it backed up, and it'll also spit out an error if it wasn't able to back up an article. So that's done, and like I said, it's about 170 articles for this example, so that took no time at all. And then you'll see in your backups folder here, you'll see a new folder that's created with today's date, and if you enter that, you'll see the language, and if you enter that, then you'll see all of your articles in HTML format, and at the top you'll have a .csv file that will basically give you an index. It'll have the, I believe it has the article title. Yeah, so it's got the file name, the article ID, and it's got the title of the article and the author information. And that's going to be handy when we run through the restore process later. We'll check that out, but just open one up so you can see this is what we got. So it preserves the headings, the text, any images you have, any links. There we go. So hyperlink there, it preserves that. If you have a GIF or a GIF, I'm pretty sure it'll preserve that as well. But there are some things that it does not back up, which we'll get to at the end here. So yeah, it's got HTML versions of all of the articles in your Help Center, and handy little reference sheet to tell you what's what. And then one of the limitations of this backup procedure is that it just backs up the articles. It doesn't back up the Help Center structure. So if you have created sections or categories and sections in the categories, that won't be backed up. So I've created a quick little process to allow us to do that as well. Unfortunately, it's manual process. If I come across a way to do it automatically, I will leave a note in the description, maybe make a new video showing that, but for the time being, this is the best way I was able to find to back it up. So you're going to go to your Knowledge Center, and then you're going to want to expand every category and every section in the category on the sidebar. Make sure you don't miss any. Can be quite a lot of them depending on how you have things organized. Very unfortunate that there's not a way to do this, as far as I'm aware of, from the API. There might be. If I can figure it out, I'll make a new video, because this is quite a pain. But if you don't change your structure very often, if you have a defined structure and you're just adding new articles, then you really don't have to do this anywhere near as frequently as you back up the articles themselves. So that's one positive. But I do recommend doing this at least every once in a while. Once we get to the section about restoring articles, you'll see why we need this. Okay, almost there. Last one. Alright. Once we have everything expanded, and be careful you don't click on something and enter an article, because you'll have to go back and re-expand everything you just expanded. Ask me how I know. So, without clicking on it, off to the side, you're going to want to click and drag to highlight, and just go from the top all the way down, scroll till we get to the bottom. You're going to want to highlight all of this stuff. Keep on going. Alright, copy that, and then I don't think I have Word installed. I don't. Last time I tried this in WordPad, it did not paste properly. Your mileage may vary. Maybe a different app will work for you. I know Microsoft Word works properly when doing this, but that's all I got for the moment. Yeah, it didn't want to do it. So I won't be able to show that, but I have a screenshot in here so you can see. So you copy that, open a blank Word document, and paste it in, and then it should preserve your hierarchy. So you'll see your categories here, and then under that you'll see your sections, and then under that you'll see the articles and the order of the articles under each one. And then you can save that Word document, and I like to title it something like Help Center with the date that you made the backup, just so it's clear what it is. And then you can add this PDF to that folder here. So I would probably add it under this one, today's date, and then just drop it right in here. But you can add it wherever you want. That's up to preference. And then that can be used to manually recover your Help Center structure in case you need to do any of that. So it's good to have. So I recommend doing the backup of the articles and the structure regularly. Obviously the frequency will be different for those two, but depending on your needs, back them up as often as you can, and then if you can, store them in the cloud, Google Drive or cloud storage, whatever you got. That way you make sure you always have a copy of it. So that's the backup procedure. Now we'll go through the restore procedure. So the restore has to be done on an article by article basis. You can do multiples at once, but there's no like batch restore all articles or anything like that, unfortunately. So you're going to need to navigate to where you have your backups and the particular date you want to restore from. And then you're going to open up your CSV file. That way you can determine which article you want to restore. Let's say this one was deleted. You'll find that you can find it by the title and then figure out what the article ID is, the file name. And then you'll want to copy that, or all of the ones that you want to restore. If there's multiple, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, you're going to need to copy those numbers. And then we're going to go to where our scripts are stored here. Restore articles, you're going to right click it and do edit with Notepad++ or whatever your text editor is. And then here, if you haven't already, you're going to add your credentials. Make sure your Zendesk domain is proper here. And then for backup folder, you're going to want to change this field to match the folder that you're restoring from. So in this case, if we'll do this example, it's going to be this folder name here, 2022-11-21. So I'll change that. And then if your language is different again, you'll want to change that. And then where it says restore list here, this is where you're going to put the article IDs that you want to restore. Just paste it in. If you have multiples, you can put a comma, space, and then put the second. Same thing again, third. However many you have, paste them in there. If it's just one, then it'll just be the number surrounded by the brackets, no spaces or commas or anything. And then once you have that done, you're going to save the script, close it out. So once you've got that backup, the restore script edited, you're going to want to run it. So same thing as running the backup script. Go to the actual folder where it is, click in the bar there, type CMD, open it up at your location, and then you can just simply type restore_articles.py and hit enter. I'm not going to do it because there's no need to restore the article at this time. But yeah, you'll hit enter and then you'll get a little notice here, article with this ID restored. So you can tell it successfully restored it for you. And then if needed, you can go into Help Center admin and then you can edit anything for the restored article that you might need to edit, like tags, author information, visibility, stuff like that. So that is the restore process. Now we'll quickly go over the limitations. So a lot of things you need to keep in mind for this. Restoring will completely overwrite the title and the body of the live article. It will not append data to it. So if you completely change the article and then you deleted part of something and then you want to restore it, you're going to need to make sure that you restore from the proper backup, because if you restore, let's say 3 versions ago, it's not going to add anything to it. It'll just completely wipe out the article and replace it with the version that you're restoring from. So keep that in mind. In order to restore an article, the exact same article has to exist, meaning the content can change, the title can change, the body, but you cannot delete and remake the article. This is because it's based on the article ID. As you saw, the file names are all article ID and they're restored by article ID. So if you delete an article and then create a new one, even if it has the same title and same body and everything, the ID will be different, so it won't be able to restore. For the same reason, you can't use the restore procedure to upload articles from one Zendesk account or one domain to another one. The article IDs won't match up, so that unfortunately won't work. If you do want to do that, or if you've deleted an article and you need to restore it, you'll have to create the article again. So create a new article and then just open up the HTML document and manually copy over the title and the body and everything. Basically just do it the hard way. That's going to be the only way to restore it in those circumstances, or upload it to a different account if you want to go that route. So the restoration procedure will restore the title, the body text, any images, and any hyperlinks in the body, but it will not restore tags, author, visibility settings, editing settings, related articles, or its place in the structure, in the hierarchy of the Help Center. Any of those that you need to restore, you'll have to do it by hand. I did not include a way to back that up. I haven't taken the time to see if there's an automated way to back up things like tags and settings, but generally those are pretty intuitive. You'll know who should be able to view what articles and who should be able to edit those articles. And then because we backed up the general structure of the Help Center, you'll be able to place the articles wherever they go in the structure, in the hierarchy, just by referencing that. And then tags are just help with searching. That should be pretty easy to recreate by hand if needed. So this is it's a pretty good way to back everything up and restore if content of articles was changed and you need to revert it back. Because if you have a complete copy of every article that you have in HTML form, then at the very worst case you can go through and open it up and manually copy and paste everything in, take those images out of the PDF, save them, re-upload them. You can rebuild your articles in your entire Help Center just by having the backup HTMLs and the structure documented, so you can use that to recover. In the worst case, something happens, your entire Help Center is wiped out. It's going to be a bit of legwork depending on the articles, number of articles that you have, but you'll be able to actually go through and manually restore everything, so at least you have options. Whereas if you didn't back up, then you're completely in the wind and you got no options. So I definitely recommend, if you manage Zendesk Help Center, that you go through and set this up. And I haven't done it yet, so I haven't added it to this guide, but you can, like I said before, schedule the script to run automatically so you can automate backups. Just make sure if you do that, like with any case, when you automate backups, make sure you go and actually verify every once in a while that it's running properly and it's actually creating the backups. And then every once in a while try and restore an article just to make sure that that's working as well, just so you can verify. But hopefully somebody found this helpful, especially the initial setup, because that took me, aside from making a bunch of typos in the script, which is par for the course, the initial setup and installing everything is what took me the most time. So hopefully somebody can follow this guide and skip a whole bunch of that headache. So yeah, if you like what you saw, feel free to subscribe if you want more. We got a whole bunch of random content coming. Anything I can think of that's helpful to someone, I'll throw a guide together if I end up doing it. So thanks for checking it out. Hopefully you got some use out of this. Have a good day.